So yeah, when people say I don't want to go back to school, I can totally kind of understand that, because it's not just I don't want to learn. It's not just I don't want to look after myself or be on my own. It's I do not want to be that version of myself that is so isolated. Honestly, I don't think anyone deserves to feel like they should just endure that kind of experience, especially not if you're paying money to be somewhere, you know? The least that you deserve is to actually have a nice time there. And I just think it's really sad. It's really sad. It's like you're feeling that in school. You might be struggling to make friends and make connections in your school. And because you're so far from home, you don't have that like home base to fall back on, like during the weekends or during Exia, or over the shorter holidays. And so it's just like it becomes a thing of like it becomes something where you're like, I do not know what I can possibly do because I have tried and I'm just not clicking with anyone in the school yet. Because I mean, like, I would never kind of rule out that you would never make a friend in your school. I just think there has to be at least one person. It's just a matter of like finding them. For me personally, over my secondary school experience, I changed schools like every 2 years or 2 and 1/3 years. So I definitely know this almost like this like phase or this cycle of like being a new kid in a new school, and that whole thing of like meeting people, that whole thing of like that initial getting along with people. So I really want Bradar to be something that signals to people you're not alone in those feelings. You are definitely not alone in this situation, and that there's a whole group of people who are feeling those exact same feelings as you. Even people who are not going to another country, even people who are going to university, people that you might think are like older and therefore maybe they're like over it. It's just a natural thing. It's a natural thing to be wary of a new environment, and it's a natural thing to be wary of an environment that you've had previous negative experiences in. Like, this is not just from my observations now, like having gone through so many different school environments and like uni environment and everything. These are things that you can, like, people post about it, people say what their experience was. I think it's just important to remember that you're not the only one who's no, it sounds bad. Like, it sounds like I'm saying you're not the only one, to get over it. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of people make when trying to comfort someone who's feeling this way. You say you're not the only one, or you're this age, so you should get over it. That doesn't make sense to me, especially when people who are like grown adults, like if someone, for example, is an expat in another country, you can't tell me that because someone's an adult, oh, they've just adjusted to it. These are things that when you actually ask people, or when people become more comfortable in that space, like maybe in the second year or something like that, they'll say, "Oh yeah, like the whole first week I was crying. I was on the phone crying to my parents because I was just like, what is going on? Like, I don't have any friends. I don't have any like what is going on? You just feel like you're just surviving day to day to day. People, I can't really explain how sure I am that people say that, because it's literally it's a fact. It's like it will keep on people will keep on revealing this. So that's why I really want to encourage people not to get discouraged by like how you're feeling, because everybody feels like that. Even people who live down the road, even people who have been there since, I don't know, primary or something like that, everybody feels some kind of tension in that, like moving to a new phase, even if it's not a new place for them. But it's more so when it is a new place, it is a new school or new country. It is something that I feel really passionate about, because I think it's something that, again, is very misunderstood, as like it's mixed in with homesickness, but it's not directly homesickness, and it's not laziness, and it's not like immaturity. It's a genuine concern that people have. If you've been put in a situation that you feel like it's like flipped you inside out, I don't think your body will let you put yourself in that situation again. And so if you have to be in that situation again, it's already creating that disharmony. It's already creating that sense of like tension in your mind that makes you feel panicked. That's why, like, when you're going to, for example, the airport, or you're going to, like, you're driving up to the school, and you're seeing you're getting like closer and closer to the airport, closer and closer to the school. It does feel weird. It does feel like some kind of like, it just feels like you're getting closer and closer to that moment when you're like finally going to be alone. And that is terrifying to a lot of people because it's not, again, it's not so much the alone part. It's more so that you have to switch into this version of yourself that is just purely surviving. And not, I'm not talking about surviving like the version of yourself that is responsible. I'm saying surviving like basically that you're struggling and you just have to like go back to struggling. I think it's so natural that you wouldn't want to do that. So I don't think anyone should ever make you feel bad for feeling like that. What I think is that there has to be a solution to that. Because it's not possible that the only thing expected of you to do is just however many years you've got left in that school or that environment, you have to just keep on going through this like cognitive shift every time. And that, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's the purpose of life, or else, because these experiences have a long lasting effect on people. These experiences change people and not for the better. Like I really cannot explain how, especially in a boarding environment, how important it is to have that, like, hold on to that sense of feeling like yourself, and to hold on to that sense of like feeling free, like you're not just in survival mode. So it then begs the question, okay, what can I do as someone, okay, I'm not in school anymore and I'm not an educational provider. What can I do to kind of fix things, you know? And I think it's just creating, again, as I said in other videos, creating that space for people to feel not only seen and heard, but to make those connections. Maybe that's the first step to actually finding those people that you can hang out with, even if they're not in your school, but just putting those experiences out there to see if they resonate with someone else's experience. Which isn't to say that you only have to be friends with people who have lived through your experiences. If you've been holding your breath for the whole term, you do need like that space where you can just let it out. And I think one of the quickest ways to getting to that point where you're like, "Oh, okay, like I finally feel like myself." One of the quickest ways is to actually connect with people who understand that feeling,